Earlier today, Bungie put out a new video talking about the new exotic and the weapons in Beyond Light. A very small amount of them, hopefully there's a lot more. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about the weapons, doing a little breakdown on the description we got on the Bungie website, and giving my quick thoughts about what I think about the weapons and the armor themselves. If you do not want to get any spoilers, you want to figure out everything on your own, be surprised, discover whatever you want to discover, you have been warned. This is now the time to leave. Let's get started. First up, we're going to start off with the weapons. We got no time to explain. Now this is a returning exotic from D1, which many of you may know, but there's not really too many changes to it. The main change is that you can basically create your own arc soul for the weapon. So now any class can basically get their own arc soul. And the way this makes sense is because the no time to explain is a time traveling weapon. So the arc soul, quote unquote, is really just bullets from the past coming to the present to help you out. So on the Bungie website, it states precision hits and hits against enemies affected by stasis will return to the magazine. Stack this effect to summon a portal which will fire bullets from an alternate timeline of the weapon. Now, just being able to create your own arc soul is pretty cool. What's really gonna make it or break it for me is if that damage is actually any good, as well as how consistent the damage can be and the return for the bullets to the magazine is for this weapon. If it's anything like D1, it's not going to get a lot of use because nobody uses no time to explain unless you just were just trying to use a new exotic you just got and then you just put it back in your vault like the many others. So I don't know how I feel about this one. It'll probably get a week or two of good use, but then as more people get more weapons and exotics, it'll just move on. Next up, we got Cloud Strike, a new exotic sniper rifle. We aren't sure if this is an energy slot or a heavy slot yet, but what it does is precision final blows will generate lightning bolts at the target location. Rapid precision shots will summon an entire storm at the point of impact. Now this has a lot of potential in PvP and PvE. PvP specifically for the generating lightning bolts and the chaining of arc damage that you see in the little bit of a teaser trailer that we have right here. For PvE, rapid precision shots summoning an entire storm, that has potential. That does have potential, but if it does enough damage or not will really depend if this is going to have any use in PvE, because if it is a heavy slot, it has to hit like a truck. It has to compete with a Whisper if this is going to have any use in PvE. But I guess we just have to wait and see. Next up, we have the Mammoth, the big boy chainsaw. This is a literal chainsaw. Now, what this does, on the Bungie website, it states a mortal blade, a stalwart shield, block with the Mammoth to rev the blade, then shred through shielded enemies, aka barrier champions, or possibly night shields and things like that. At its peak, damaging an enemy will heal the wielder. This is insane. Now, this has a ton of potential in things like Grandmaster Nightfalls. You could set up your team, one person with the lament, second person with divinity or something, and then or one person doing damage to activate the anti-barrier shield. The person with the lament blocks their way to the champion until the shield gets up. They kill the champion and they get their health back. Just makes it so much easier to kill anti-barrier champions, honestly, instead of having to waste a bunch of ammo on a auto rifle with anti-barrier, or just having to wait because you don't have anti-barrier and things like that. But this has a lot of potential. I don't really see it in PvP that much. I think just regular Guillotine and Black Talon are still going to take the highlights for PvP, but PvE, definitely going to have to mess around with this one. Now let's get into the armor pieces, shall we? Starting off with the Titans. Titan Exotic Gauntlets, Icefall Mantle. Stand tall against the oncoming hordes with this reinforced armor that replaces the Titan Barricade. Replaces the Titan Barricade with an overshield, absorbing damage from incoming fire. Now this is insane for PvP. this is going to be absolutely broken. Not as much as One Eye Mask. Not as much as One Eye Mask, but if this has the same timer as the barricade, or for some reason shorter, my god, I don't even want to think about going for legend, because you can have, if you're a really set up Titan and you have your barricade like the absolute max, like every 6, 7, whatever, 9 seconds you get a barricade. If you can do that with this but with an overshield, oh my god, there is no stopping you. But it's gonna take some testing. We're gonna have to see what it can do and what it cannot do. Next up, we have a Hunter Exotic Helmet, Mask of Backrix. Backrix. Backrix? Backrix. Who knew that hunters needed even more movement in PvP? Now what this does, don the mask to replace the hunter's dodge with basically blink. Replace your dodge with blink. That also temporarily cloaks the user. Now realistically it says, replace the hunter's dodge ability with the long range shift ability that also temporarily cloaks the user. Oh my gosh. Who knew hunters needed even more movement? This is gonna have a lot of use. This has a lot of potential. Super annoying as always for people going against it. You could basically see it as using your dodge, but you're also invisible when you do it. Next up for the hunters, some new exotic gauntlets. Arthrises. I think it's a typo on the video because on the Bungie website there is an R in between the A and the T. So it is Arthrisis Embrace. It's a hunter's weighted knife that gains a second ricochet. Rapid precision hits gain a damage bonus that can temporarily stagger enemies. Now, how many hunters are actually ricocheting their knives? Not many, I would assume. Especially people who are actually trying to go for it. How many of them are actually successful? Unless this has stupid amounts of tracking, I don't really see this getting much use. But the damage bonus could be useful, especially if you're doing something like strikes or regular nightfalls, just farming it. It could have use in that. We just have to wait and see. Maybe it'll be worth it. Maybe this will just be another one left in vault. Next up we have a new Warlock helmet. Something that actually is for Dawnblade. It actually might be useful. Dawn Chorus. Feel that sweet burn. The Warlock's debut projectiles deal extra damage, cause enemies to burn on contact, and you gain melee energy each time a burn damages a target. Now, this is going to be absolutely insane for bottom tree. And even top tree because you get melee energy back. This is going to have a lot of potential, a lot of use in PvP. I can definitely see that. And for PvE, this is just going to be a great ad clear if anything. If you're not doing any high tier content that, you know, requires the well only. If you're doing something like a strike or farming a quick nightfall, you know, Dawn Chorus is going to be perfect for just clearing those ads. It's going to be a lot of fun to use. Last for the Warlocks, we have an insane piece of armor right here. A new exotic gauntlet, Necrotic Grip. A deadly caress compounded. Melee attacks corrupt enemies with increasing DOT. Defeating a corrupted combatant spreads the corruption to nearby targets and restores melee energy. Now, I want to know, will this work for Top Tree Dawnblade? I want this to work with Top Tree Dawnblade. If it works with Top Tree Dawnblade, just Top Tree Dawnblade and Thorn, dude, it's over. It is absolutely over in PvP. You cannot beat this if this works with Top Tree Dawnblade. It's gonna be super insane. If you can just imagine this, the initial damage with a Top Tree Dawnblade melee firebolt, it can possibly hit like 2-3 enemies at a time. Then they have that damage over time. Then you put the thorn damage over time. Then when you kill one guy, it spreads to the next guy, and the next guy, and the next. And you get melee energy back from killing nearby enemies. Absolutely insane. Can't wait to use this one. Now the next one is actually a little bit out of order, along with the one after that. We're almost done. We have a Titan exotic helmet called Precious Scars. Prove your strength, even when coming back from the brink. Upon revives, the Titan gains an overshield aura that protects the wearer and nearby allies. Now this is going to be obviously used in trials, no doubt about it. Maybe the go-to in trials, depending on if you're more of a defending class for the Titan. You know, you could have the Titan barrier, the Titan bubble, and then have this on if you were to do that. Now the thing I want to know, how often does it recharge, how much does it recharge, and how much of an actual overshield do you get? Because as well as like the range and the radius of how far you can go, how long it reaches, you know, things like that. How fast does it recharge if you're outside of that aura and then you come in? How many people does it connect to? All those kinds of things. This can definitely be very useful. I can definitely see a lot of Titans using this in trials, especially if that overshield is very positive in those things I've noted. But we just had to wait and see. Let's go on to the last one. And finally, last but very, very not least, we have an exotic grenade launcher called a Salvation's Grip. Redemption is within your grasp. Each fire projectile will create stasis crystals that will freeze nearby targets. Charge to increase the amount of crystals created in the freeze radius. Now, this is very special. Why? This exotic grenade launcher was put at the very end, after all the other weapons were shown and after all the armor pieces were shown. They decided to put this weapon specifically at the very end. Now, I automatically think this is the raid exotic. It would not be unlike Bungie to not put the raid exotic in a teaser for new exotic weapons for an expansion. We saw it in Forsaken. They showed us the 1,000 voices and that ended up being the raid exotic. We saw it in Shadowkeep with the Divinity. We saw that as a teaser. Now, I think this Salvation's Grip, this is the raid exotic. It has the name Salvation's Grip. It creates stasis crystals at your own will. It screams raid exotic, you know? But I honestly would not be surprised if this is the raid exotic. It looks pretty cool, but honestly, the only kind of use I can see out of this is if the stasis crystals itself do enough damage. This does also give you the power of stasis, very limited though, if you were to run a different kind of subclass. So if you wanted to do that, you know, you can mess around with a few builds with this. But I think this is the raid exotic. No doubt about it, would not be unlike Bungie. But it looks like a lot of fun to use. So that's it for today. That's all the exotic armor pieces and weapons that we got out of this trailer. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Check out the links in the description. Catch me live on Twitch if you want to. Check out my socials. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. And I hope to see you all in the next video.